Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining the Marketing Masterclass case studies for arts and heritage organizations. These case studies are an opportunity for other arts and heritage organizations to learn about the various marketing strategies. And today's presenter is Kathleen Walsh. She is the social media and communications manager from Imaginative, and we're delighted to have her on today to speak about event marketing in a seasonal industry, and specifically just how her marketing strategy is in alignment with the overall organization's strategic plans. So for this case study, she will go over just the general overview of the organization, and then jump into an overview of the marketing and her department, as well as any challenges or opportunities that took place, and then the solution to meet those challenges or opportunities, and then the results. So thank you again, Kathleen, for joining us, and I will hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mona, for that introduction and for inviting me to participate in this exciting initiative. So my name is Kathleen Walsh, and I am a passionate communications professional with over 5 years of experience, most of which have been through my work at nonprofit organizations in the film and television industry. So just under a year ago, I began working at Imaginative, and now as their social media and communications manager, my role mostly consists of directing the overall communication strategy, managing direct reports within the department and some external contracts and consultants, as well as coordinating with Imaginative's executive leadership team to determine best practices and establish systems and processes. So for example, style guides, analytics tracking documents, etc. Now to speak a bit more about Imaginative. Our festival launched in 2000 and has consistently grown since then to be the world's largest presenter of Indigenous screen content. Our office resides on the land of present-day Toronto, which is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Huron-Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are recognized internationally for our excellence and innovation in our programming. And truly at Imaginative, our mission and mandate is our commitment to creating a greater understanding of Indigenous peoples and cultures through Indigenous-made media art. So that includes film and video works, audio works, and digital media works, including virtual reality, augmented reality, 360 video, video games, and much more. So this October, we will be celebrating our 22nd annual festival, and we currently have a very fitting 22 staff on the team. Our marketing objectives were to increase our growth across our social media, but also to engage our audience in a more relevant and audience-centric way while highlighting our wide range of programming. And I'm just going to speak to that for a moment. So up to this point in the presentation, I've mostly described the ways in which we promote and foster opportunities for Indigenous artists through our festival, but Imaginative has grown to be so much more than a single one-week event. So a major objective for our marketing team has been to show our audience how much we do year-round in terms of professional development labs, opportunities and workshops, which are all under the umbrella of our Institute department, and even the year-round panels and programming we offer. So that should give you a sense of the major challenge I'll be discussing in today's presentation, but I'll circle back to that in a minute. So our marketing department essentially consists of myself and one direct report who joined the team a few months ago. And I like to think that we are an example of resourcefulness and proof that you don't need a giant team to make an impact. Our audience is primarily comprised of women aged 25 to 34 who are based in Toronto. However, as we are an international festival, we are intent on targeting folks of all genders from around the world. A majority of our audience is Indigenous, which I believe is key to establishing ourselves as an authentic organization within the Indigenous-made media arts world. Although now we are also at a point where we are increasingly gaining traction in non-Indigenous communities. So this is an exciting opportunity to showcase the talent and excellence of our artists to a wider range of viewers and to really convey the message that Indigenous stories are for everyone to enjoy. The primary platforms that we are on and that we focus on include Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We recently joined TikTok, and we are also on YouTube. We have a newsletter distributed by email and a main website for year-round content, as well as another website dedicated exclusively to our festival. So as I alluded to before, one of the biggest challenges we have faced is the fact that while we have established ourselves as a festival, most people don't know how much accessible year-round content, programming, and really the number of professional development opportunities we host. It's a fine balance because in promoting our year-round offerings, we don't want to alienate the festival audience that we have, kind of honed in on, but we also want people to know that we are more than that and we deserve to be a mainstay on their social media feeds year-round. In determining our solution to this challenge, polls and audience surveys were a really great way of collecting feedback. But the ultimate key to our success was then using that data to shape a year-round marketing strategy, which kind of flexed and evolved depending on the time of year. So we're very connected to our audience and community. And in that vein, collecting feedback was something that we had been doing since long before I joined Imaginative. However, using that feedback to shape our strategy into one that changed depending on the time of year was something that I determined would be beneficial after studying and reflecting on the strategies of other seasonally dependent organizations. So hearing that, you might be wondering, what do I mean by that strategy and which seasonal organizations did I look at? So let me explain. It all started with research. So I looked to the social media accounts of other film festivals, but also award shows and even less seemingly related organizations such as the Olympics. Through this research, I looked at how each organization reflected their events through social media during their high season, but perhaps more importantly, how that was reflected in their low season. So how did they continue to engage with their audience? How did they present themselves in a relevant way at all times in their calendar? In applying these key learnings to our own social strategy, we divided our year into different parts. So these parts were not divided evenly chronologically. It was some parts were just a month or two, while other parts of the year lasted closer to 8 months. And that division was determined by the content we offer at that year rather than dividing the year into equal sections. We then created a social strategy for each time of year that reflected our changing priorities and focus. So for instance, in October, we were focused almost exclusively on our festival. However, by April, we're far more interested in promoting our tour programs and professional development labs. In terms of our audience response, they have definitely responded very well. We have increased our engagement rate, our follower count, and our events and other programming have been achieving and often surpassing our desired response rate. So as a result, our audience, which once considered us to be top of mind only in the fall when our festival takes place, is now recognizing our offerings and value far past October. Through this strategy, we are essentially altering expectations and conveying that the imaginative community can expect exciting and relevant content all year long. So in terms of key learnings, in closing, any seasonally inclined industry like film festivals, award shows, and more, it's really key to establish your organization as a thought leader that can and should be trusted beyond the scope of your singular main event. While Imaginative may have started exclusively as a film festival, we're really establishing our place in the arts community as a trusted voice when it comes to social consciousness within the screen industry and a hub for Indigenous opportunities. So it's imperative that our marketing strategy really reflect that change. As the world has changed, both through the pandemic and through the past year's shift towards a heightened awareness of social justice issues and gaps, Imaginative has found more opportunities for funding and that more people are listening to what we have to say. This is an important moment to advance our mission and offer greater funding to our artists, while also showcasing the bountiful talent and excellence of Indigenous communities to new audiences. In terms of what's next for Imaginative, the pandemic definitely created a new challenge in that everything was moved to the digital sphere. But with that came opportunity to reach a more diverse audience who might not be capable of traveling to Toronto for our annual festival. we learn to prioritize that need to reach people through a digital means. So, as far as what's upcoming for us from there, we need to take our key learnings from going digital and find a way to reapply that to in-person programming and discover a new balance between the accessibility of digital programming versus the excitement of live in-person events. We're hoping to capitalize on the increased reach and attention we've received from being in the digital space in a year-round capacity and find a way to make for a hybrid model to really get the best of both worlds. So listening to our audiences and determining our next leaps in conjunction with their evolving expectations of what kind of opportunities we provide. And in doing so, we will continue our efforts, of course, to reflect an authentic representation of Indigenous peoples and cultures on our screens. So thank you so much for tuning into this case study on event marketing in seasonal industries. Please feel free to follow Imaginative on social media and to visit our website. And for any questions or additional queries, feel free to reach me via email. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mona.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. That was really informative. And I really loved how you spoke about the importance of having polls and doing surveys to understand your audience, and then going from there. So thanks again for being a case study for our Marketing Masterclass program. And also, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our funder, Canadian Heritage, as well as our delivery partners, the Kingston Arts Council and the Ottawa Arts Council, and especially our case study organizations who are participating. So once again, thank you, Kathleen, and thanks for those of you who are watching.